Welcome to Spotlight Santa Monica. I'm Sandy Jacobson. From saving lives to cooking for the crew, today we're talking with firefighters from the Santa Monica Fire Department. We're lucky to have our own fire department in Santa Monica. Joining me now is Battalion Chief Mark Bridges. Chief Bridges, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And thank you, we got you for your last month of service. You're going to retire.
Right.
After how many years?
34 years.
Wow. Thank you for all your service.
Oh, it's been a
Thank
pleasure.
You. Tell me a little bit about the Santa Monica Fire Department, just a little bit, because I want to get some personal answers from you.
Sure. It was actually started in 1889. And currently, it's obviously grown since then, but currently we have 4 fire stations. We have 6 paramedic engines, a ladder truck, hazardous materials unit, a USAR, urban search and rescue, and an aircraft crash unit out at the airport. Then we have support staff. We have a fire prevention bureau that does all the plan checking and fire inspections, and then the administrative staff that handle the budgets and those kind of things.
Well, since 1980, when you arrived, what kind of changes have you seen?
Stuff that I couldn't even imagine. Back then, all our reports are written by hand. There weren't even computers in the fire stations. Our inspection reports, we had a typewriter. And the funny thing about the typewriter, my daughter came into the fire station several years ago, and we still had it there. She stopped and looked at it and said, "What's that?" Didn't even know what the typewriter was. And then I showed her, and she loved it, playing with the typewriter. But the engines back then were just really basic fire engines, just an engine and a pump kind of thing. Now they're all enclosed and climate controlled, and we have computers on the engines, and just the technology and stuff has been amazing how far we've come since then.
Well, so you've mentioned hazmat.
Right.
But besides the fire at EMS, what other services does the fire department take care of?
A lot, amazing
Emergencies,
amount.
I should say.
Emergency, we're averaging about 30 to 40 calls a shift now. When I came on in 1980, we were running about 3,000 incidents a year. Now we're up to almost 14,000.
Why? What's the big change?
I think just the influx of the population. Back then, a lot of the houses, were single-family dwellings. And those are being replaced by condos and apartments and those kind of things. So we're seeing a lot more people come in. Business community is really picking up.
And the office community.
Daytime population is probably up 300,000. Nighttime's 96,000. Then during the summer, during the beach, we're getting over 1 million people, visiting the beach. So we have 31 firefighters on duty every day. And
most of those are EMTs also?
Everybody's EMTs. About half of them are paramedics. And just responding to all those different calls and it's keeping us really busy.
What's the difference between an EMT and a paramedic?
EMT is more of a basic first aid kind of thing. They can do bandaging and oxygen and those kind of things versus the paramedic that actually is administering medications.
Practically doing surgery.
It seems like it now.
So in the last few years, the Santa Monica's had a couple of sadly noteworthy emergencies, the farmers market tragedy, the crash at the airport, and then just the June 7th incident recently. So tell me how the department, how these emergencies affected the department. Have there been changes made as a result of the emergencies?
It's deeply affected all the members as being part of the community and working here and meeting people, day to day at the store, whether you're shopping or just on a routine call, and then to have a tragedies, like these, the farmers market and things, where the people that we're trying to protect, are suffering serious injuries or death. So it's changed the departments in a lot of ways. Some of our procedures have changed. Our training has refocused on those kind of incidents, mass casualty kind of incidents. It's brought us closer with the police department. We're training more with them and establishing policies to better deal with these things.
Does the fire department have any needs? Do you need anything from us?
Well, we're saying, I just mentioned how our call load has increased greatly, and we're finding ourselves starting to run lower and lower on resources. And it used to be just like on the weekends or summertime. Now it's just all year long. We're just running out of resources and stuff. So we're evaluating right now, adding units and personnel. So that's something that we're gathering information on, statistics, to see how we can do that.
Tell me something about the Save the Mac project.
Right. It's a 1952 Mack fire truck, the kind with a bulldog in the front of it. And we had that when I first came on in 1980. It was out at our Station 5, and I actually responded to calls on it. Since then, the department auctioned it off. It ended up somewhere else. I'm not sure exactly where, but we were able to raise the funds and buy it back. And so we're working on restoring that to back to its original condition. So we're trying to raise money for that. So we're looking for donors and sponsors and those kind of things.
And then you had a rescue truck from the New York Fire Department.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Right, FDNY, Fire Department of New York, Rescue 5. Rescue 5 was at the World Trade Center and went with 11 firefighters on board, and all those 11 firefighters were killed at the World Trade Center. The engine ended up being buried in all the debris and the dust. They were able to pull it out and salvage it and clean it up. And for New York, it's since been replaced, but they've allowed Rescue 5 to tour the country to educate the newer generations on what exactly happened during that time, 9/11.
That's a very sad story, but I think you have a happier story about a dog named Stella.
Right.
Talk about
It was
that.
an amazing rescue. It was early September of last year, and early morning, as a Saturday morning, we received a call for a structure fire. En route, we could see a plume of smoke coming up, which obviously is not a good sign. That means it's a confirmed fire. Units on scene reported fire coming out of the windows and the doors, and some of the neighbors had reported that the owner of the condo, or the person that lived there, was gone, but they felt his dog was up there still. So our priority, of course, is human life. And the firefighters did a quick search for human life, didn't find any, and then started looking for the dog. And they found Stella, which is a female boxer, full-size female boxer, weighs probably 50, 60 pounds. They found her behind a couch, unconscious.
Oh.
So they brought her down to the street, and several years ago, an organization had donated doggy masks to us, doggy oxygen masks that fits over the muzzles. So we had a crew standing by in case they did find the dog, which they did. They brought Stella down to the street, unconscious. They applied the oxygen to her, and after a little bit, we could see her eyes start to flicker a little bit, and she started to come to. Animal Control took her to a vet in Westwood, and they kept her for a couple days. And as far as we know, she had a full recovery.
Oh, and that's a good story.
Yeah.
You have a chaplains program. What's that?
We do, and we've been talking about starting a chaplains program, and it provides emotional support for civilians as well as the firefighters. And we really came to fruition after the shooting on June 7th. We had a lot of emotional needs within our department and the community. And we recruited a couple chaplains. We recruited Josh Young. He's from the Lighthouse Church on 20th Street. And then also Donald Doss. He used to work for the police department. He'd been to seminary school. And Don focuses on the elderly and assists us with any of the needs with the elderly or elder neglect or abuse. And Josh assists us with the younger folks.
Nice. It's a nice thing. In just a few seconds we have left,
Sure.
I hear the term customer service has actually been used to apply to you guys. That seems strange.
Right, it does when you're thinking about emergencies and firefighting and all. But we're take the extra step when we go to an emergency call. An example is we had an elderly gentleman not too long ago that was walking down the street and experienced a stroke. When we arrived there, we noticed he had a yard sprinkler in his hand. And so we took him to the hospital, got him all treated, and went back to tell his wife that he was at the hospital. And we asked about the sprinkler in his hand. And she goes, several of our sprinklers stopped working, and he was on his way to Busy Bee Hardware to get it fixed. So we ended up, we stayed, turned on the sprinklers, found out which ones weren't working, and then went to Busy Bee and fixed all the sprinklers. So when he came home, everything was working, and he didn't have to worry about that. But those are the extra steps that our firefighters are encouraged to take as far as customer service.
That's why the Santa Monica Fire Department is such a great institution. Thank you so much, Mark. And
my pleasure.
And good luck with retirement. Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Up next, we've got more with the Santa Monica Fire Department. Find out what it was like to be on duty the day of the June 7th shooting.
Riding a bicycle can seem like child's play.
But only if you're playing indoors.
Riding in the real street has real consequences.
Play it safe. Ride by the rules. Cars and bikes need to play together.
Good morning, sunshine. If he were, he'd tell you, right? You're too healthy to be. He didn't look sick. What if you weren't safe every time? What if he's sleeping with his ex? What if it broke? If you are HIV positive, what happens next?
You don't have to live with Mr. Doubt. Common Ground offers free testing and care for HIV and STDs, including hepatitis. Just stop by or call us.
It's time you know.
Today we're talking with firefighters from the Santa Monica Fire Department. Joining me now is firefighter Dustin Rodriguez, who told me I can call him Dusty.
Yes.
Dusty, I want to ask you a question. When you were 7, did you want to be a firefighter?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I was fortunate to grow up around the fire department. I live out in Ventura County, and my dad was a firefighter for 40 years out there. So I literally grew up around the fire department, going to the fire station, trying to be around it as much as I can. So, I mean, my youngest memories have always been being around the fire department.
It's so interesting to me, and I'm so grateful that when I see a fire, I turn around and run, and you turn around and run into it. And thank you for doing that. What's the day in the life of a firefighter like?
Well, a day in the life of a firefighter here in Santa Monica, we have shift exchange at about 6:30, 7 in the morning. We usually get about an hour and a half to exercise. We try to take full advantage of that. Obviously, our job is very physically demanding, so staying in shape is very important. So we work out in the morning, shower up, and we have what we call lineup. I work off of 19th in Arizona, which is Station 3. I'm on engine company number 3. We get together and we call it lineup, and our supervisor, which is our captain, will go over what is expected of us of our daily duties. What chores need to get done. We clean the station every day. I'm one of the younger guys there, so cleaning the toilets, cleaning the showers, stuff like that, like you would do normally at your own house. From there, we usually have training scheduled, whether it be fire-related training or emergency medical-related training. And then our midday, we come back for lunch.
Oh, it's just lunch yet?
Yeah. And this is.
I'm exhausted just listening to the first part of the morning.
Yeah, our days, it's busy throughout the whole day. Of course, running 911 calls, and our call volume in this city has jumped up significantly with my time here, and I've been here only a short time. But one of us at the fire station will cook. There's 9 of us at Station 3, and we rotate our cooking rotation, and we provide lunch and dinner. After that, we'll have more training in the afternoon. We'll wash the fire engine, and then we'll get together and have dinner. And by that time, it's usually about 7 p.m., it's 7:30, and we'll get together in our TV room and maybe watch the Dodgers or the Lakers if they're on.
Do you have recliners to watch on?
We do.
I knew that. I'd been up there once. That was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, on a lighter note, a heavier note, I mean, one of the most tragic days last year was June 7th. Were you involved in that call at all?
Yes.
The shooting over at Santa Monica College, right?
I was, yes, ma'am. My previous assignment before Station 3 was Station 2 off of 2nd and Hollister. And initially we responded to a person that was having difficulty breathing, I believe. And we ended up getting diverted from that call for a structure fire. The individual who was a part of that shooting went in and intentionally set his house on fire.
Oh, right.
So we responded to the structure fire, and just about the time we were about to pull off the hose and actually make entry into the house, my fire chief, Chief Bridges, instructed us to go to the college. We had some victims at the college who were shot. So it was a pretty eventful day. It was there was a lot. You went from going to a basic medical aid to a structure fire, about to enter a structure fire, and then my crew, Engine 2 at the time, was the first Santa Monica unit on scene at the school. So we assisted with the victims that were shot.
That was so frightening. What part of that whole training series that you were telling me about do you think prepares you to be able to jump from one crisis to another like that?
Well, particularly very thankful to work for the city of Santa Monica, and our training it's very good. The people that we have here, our senior firefighters, our chiefs, they have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. So jumping from crisis to crisis, you asked, just trying to learn and take from what those firefighters have taught us, or taught me in particular, just being able to adapt. One of the things with the fire department, when I was trying to get hired, someone had asked me, "What's an emergency?" And I couldn't define it, and they actually said, "You're right," because it could be anything. And that's the way I've tried to go about with my career, is that whenever someone picks up the phone and calls 911, be ready for anything.
Now that the fire department is working a lot with the police, how you have to be so careful not to get endangered. I mean, you probably don't go in vests. You didn't have vests on when you had the shots being fired at the campus. How do you do that? Are you coordinating so that you're working alongside the police but not endangering yourself?
You know, we actually do carry ballistic vests on our fire engines, and it's part of our policy for any type of domestic dispute, any type of stabbing victim, and of course a shooting victim. We have a policy that we must don our ballistic vests. So we did put those on for that call, and all the calls that we respond to that are of that nature. But working hand in hand with the police, yes, I mean, to not get into the particulars of exactly how it went, but we try our best. We try to make the best decisions for not only the public, but also for ourselves, because obviously if we endanger ourselves, then we're no use. We're no use to the public, and a lot of that too is common sense. A lot of people think that our job is very difficult in decision making, and at times I believe it is, but also at times I think just using basic common sense will help you out.
Well, of course, you were raised with that too, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Is there, say there's another little boy who's 7 years old or 10 years old who's watching and would love to be a fireman, what advice would you give that kid?
Continue chasing your dream. It's a great profession. There's nothing else that I imagined myself doing since I was 7 years old. It's very difficult to get into the fire department. There's a lot of training before you can get hired. There's a lot of preparation. It's very competitive. But my advice would be to continue chasing your dream and put yourself in a position to make yourself the best candidate.
That is very good advice. Thank you very much, Dusty. Up next, we're going to find out about some of the strangest 911 calls that the fire department has ever received. Stay tuned.
Experience Highway's Performance Space and Gallery.
I knew my journey would lead me to a place
where I'd find a highway that I could travel to the beat of my own drum. Right out the storm, 95 Joey died, but Deadly was born.
And there would be no limits to the vibrancy of my performance.
Join us each week at Highway's Performance Space and Gallery and live without limits. Log on to highwaysperformance.org.
Discover 30 years of opera in Santa Monica. Discover the Verdi Chorus.
We're spending the day with the brave firefighters of the Santa Monica Fire Department. Joining me now is firefighter Mike Kressel. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And how long have you been with the Santa Monica Fire Department?
3 years.
So that was pretty exciting getting on this department, huh?
It's the best thing that's happened.
Oh, that's great. Let's talk about some of the nuts and bolts. Like, for example, I know that the fire department gives CPR classes, but CPR has changed since the days I took it. You're not doing the breathing anymore, are you?
It has changed. So what we teach for the general population, we do have every year an event where we have on the streets fire department personnel teaching pedestrians who are just walking by how to do CPR, and you're exactly correct. The American Heart Association has found that through studies, just going straight into compressions when someone goes into cardiac arrest is actually the best thing for them at that time.
You don't have to do that breathing.
That's right.
So, okay, for the people who are watching us, for Santa Monica residents, what's the most important thing to do for a family to be prepared in case of an emergency?
Absolutely. There's some basic steps everyone can take to ensure that they have the best possible outcome should a fire break. Making sure that their smoke detectors have batteries. Every year, replace your batteries. A good time to do it is at New Year's. Also, having an evacuation plan that you've discussed with your children, your wife, and whoever lives in the home, so that way you have a common meeting point should a fire break.
So when you're talking with your kids, you don't want to scare them, but you want them to understand the urgency involved. Do you have any tips on that?
Well, I'm not a parent myself, but I've certainly found through being a paramedic that getting down on their level and just talking to them as if they're a person, and maybe making it a fun thing. You know, meet at our favorite tree in the front of the house that you like to climb, something like that.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the events that the fire department takes part in all throughout the year.
Sure, there's a lot of events that are a little above and beyond our normal duty days. Things like the Glow Festival, also the marathon that comes through town, fundraising events. Those are all things that we do. The Glow Festival, we do have vehicles that we respond to on the beach, four-wheeled vehicles that can respond on the sand. The LA Marathon, we bring in ambulances that we staff. So we're always modifying our response to add resources for these special events.
So do you ever get any bizarre 911 calls?
Absolutely. Our day is so dynamic all the time. Gosh, to think of one, a guy probably in his late teens thought it'd be fun to get into the kid's seat of a swing. And he obviously didn't fit, but made himself fit. And about a couple hours later, he finally realized he was by himself, that he couldn't get out. Calls us, and we had to go cut him out of it. So certainly you never know what you're going to get.
I bet he was more embarrassed than scared.
I would think so.
Speaking of embarrassing, we always know from television, there's a lot of camaraderie between you guys. I mean, you have each other's back, but then there must be fun too. Is there pranking going on?
I wouldn't call it pranks, but certainly we all have a good sense of humor. There are, my station, Station 1, there's 14 of us. So it's hard to not have a good time with people your age and common interests. So absolutely, we have fun with each other. There's a lot of joking around that goes on.
Any particular fun things?
Not that I could probably share with you here.
Oh, so. Nuts. Not like tying your partner's pants in a knot.
No, nothing like that. I will share one with you.
Okay,
it's called short sheeting. It's where you make someone's bed to where their sheet's tucked in about halfway.
Yeah.
And so when they get in bed at night, their feet don't quite make it to the end of the bed.
I got to tell you, we were doing that in camp a long time ago.
Well, there we go.
Right?
It's an old trick then.
That's not the biggest prank I ever heard. I want to hear about stuff in the shaving cream and stuff like that.
Like I said, I'm sure it happens, but...
Dusty Rodriguez was telling us about the shifts. How long are your shifts actually?
24 hours.
24 hours.
Exactly.
So when you come on at 6:30 or 7, and he was talking about working out. Do you work out do you have a gym?
We do have a gym at our fire station. It's a room facility for our workout equipment. And absolutely, it's our number 3 organizational priority is staying fit. A lot of studies have shown that through the stress of the job and there's a lot of potential workplace injuries, that fitness needs to be maintained throughout the entire career.
So besides staying fit, there's also cooking involved. And
Absolutely.
A lot of times I've been in the market and seen firefighters shopping.
We do shop every day. There's a cook designated for the day, so they have to go. At Station 1, we're pretty close to our local market there, so we'll go gather our groceries for the day and cook lunch and dinner.
So how do you plan menus?
It's completely up to you. A lot of guys have their one meal that they always make, and it's kind of their favorite, and
What's
that's
yours?
their go-to. I like to change it up. I'm on the internet looking up recipes all the time, trying to get some new recipes.
Well, what kind of recipes do you do, like casseroles or lasagna or stuff like that?
Everything, yeah. Pasta dishes, steak, seafood. I mean, we have so many great stores in town to choose from the food, so fortunately we have a lot of good things to choose from.
Are you on a budget?
Yep, everyone puts in a daily amount of $20, and you have to allocate that budget to last for 2 meals.
Do you guys switch around? Are you usually on the same shift with the same guys?
That's correct. So I'm on the A platoon. There's an A, B, and C platoon. And so I work with my normal A shift or A platoon guys on a daily basis or a 24-hour shift.
So who's better cook, them or your wife?
I don't think my wife is gonna be seeing this one, so I think the guys at work have it.
Because they will be seeing it?
There are some bad cooks, but I think all in all we've had some good practice, and the guys at work really do a good job.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're a good cook, but I'm really glad you're a firefighter. Thank you for all your service.
Thank you.
For more on our Santa Monica Fire Department, please visit santamonicafire.org. Thank you so much for joining us on Spotlight Santa Monica. Join us next time to meet more of the people who are working hard every day to make our city such a desirable place to live.